Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Michael, KE4EST, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. This is not a tube radio. This is just a little, it came out in the 70s. This is a GE model. What is this? A T2115A. This particular one is one that my mother's had. I think she said she got it from someplace she worked as a Christmas present or a Christmas bonus type thing or something. It had to be in 1970 or 71, because she said she got it before she got married, and I know they got married in 72. So anyway, so it's like a little bit of sentimental value. I remember my mother listening to this radio for years. She always had it sitting over in the corner, and she'd have it on the local AM radio station. She was real big and listened to what around here they called a party line, before the internet and all that stuff. And they call it swap shop and traders corners and all kinds of things I've heard it called, but I know other radio stations do it too, and did it, and there's some that still do it, even with Facebook and eBay and everything else. But she would sit and listen to that every morning. The party line people would call in and say, I've got a truck for sale and a dozen of eggs or whatever, and give their phone number. So she really enjoyed listening to that and listening to the obituaries. There's some people don't do that, and then there's some people that do. She wasn't ever a person that's big into the news, national news. She could care less what's going on in Japan, or more or less sometimes what the president's doing or whatever. And she don't care about who's married to who in Hollywood and all that junk. She never was any of that stuff, but she'd like to listen to the party line, listen to a couple little programs they had on the AM radio station in the mornings, and they'd have that party line. Then they'd give the obituaries, and she'd always just listen to see if anybody she knowed or whatever. But that's what I remember as a kid growing up, and her telling me. And my father died going on 6 years ago now. And my mother still gets around good and all that, even still works. But she wanted me to take this and see if I could clean it up some, whatever. She said it still works. She said, but it crackles a little bit and whatever. And wanted to see if I could, make it new again, or new as I could. She said, you fool with that electronic stuff, see if you can take this and whatever. And she actually gave me a couple different ones. One my dad listened to. He listened to FM radio. It's AM FM radio is one. I'll do another video on that one. But he would listen to more like country music during the day and whatever and stuff. And he was at home or whatever. And my mother would listen to the AM radio station. They'd have the gospel hour, and then they'd have the party line, and the swap shop thing, and then they'd have these little AM stations how they do in the 70s and in the 80s, and have these little shows. It was more not mainstream as much as FM would try to push everything, and try to be cutting edge on all the new things they try to do and whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, now the way I got it here is it's had stickers stuck on it over the years and different things. That's some of that glow in the dark tape from back in the 70s. I don't know if it still glows in the dark or maybe poison or something. But the way I got it was like this rear panel here that goes on it. She said it snaps up in there somehow, but she don't know why it's off. And heck, when I was a kid, I might have took it off, and she just kind of stuck it to it and stuck it against the wall and played it like that, because I was always wanting to take stuff apart and see what made them work. This, of course, used to have the sticker on it. Just peeled off, it'd tell you. I had to look it up online and do some research to find out exactly which model this was. And like I said, it's the T2115A. AM only, but the back of the sticker would have, it took me forever to find pictures, but I found one that tells you it's 105 to 120 volts AC input, 60 hertz, and it's got a 455 kilohertz IF. You know, something you don't even see no more. You know, new radios and stuff come out, you don't see a sticker on the back that says, tells you what the IF is, you know, what's the intermittent frequency on this. And they made 2 models of this. They made, you know, well, they made several of them back then. This was just the style of the time, this two-tone green, bluish color. This is a plastic here, and then this back is kind of like that press board stuff, that cheap press board. And there was a little piece of yellow thing. It went into here. I'm not even sure what that is. And then this piece here, I'm not sure. I know it's supposed to have a screw in it from pictures. The screw goes in here. That's missing. Hold this on. I don't know if this was I guess some kind of strain relief for the power cords, all I can figure. I guess it probably went through here somehow, maybe, because I don't have it. It was already apart, and if I took it apart, I forgot when I was a kid. But maybe it goes through. This is what I'm thinking, something like this here, and then went to the back, so you don't pull it out, because then it goes out the back right in here. So I don't know, but anyway. But that's, I'm guessing, some kind of strain relief, but I don't know what this is. And there was a yellow piece, and I've got to find that. Maybe I was looking for it. I know when I got it, there's another little yellow piece that I thought there's another little piece that clipped into this, and I'm not sure what that is all about. But anyway, so you can see in the back. I mean, this thing's just like I got it. It's dirty and dusty. As you can see in there. It's just, you know, just plain cheap. It's even, you see, got a cutout. It's been drilled, you know, for something else. And you can see this front here is like a piece of hard plastic, you know, that plastic sticker stuff that's kind of thick, like a piece, you know, aluminum or something. And then they could stick different, you know, guts in the same model, the same cabinet. And see, this one had a hole there for, you know, whatever reason. That's the only one I see right away. But anyway, looks like to get this out. And see, I thought, you know, maybe this had something to do with some kind of AM antenna, you know, ferrite rod loop or something. But you can see there, it's got one in here. See? So what I like about this thing is, you know, it's not phase lock loop or anything like, well, I'll do to the light here, you know, and anything like that. It's got the actual tuning capacitor in there. I don't know why that light is acting like that, but you can see that moving in there. If I turn the actual, a real capacitor, tuning capacitor. So anyway, I think the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it up really good, because she's like, it still works. So, but since it is early 70s, I'm going to clean it up real good the best I can. I know, and I'll probably change out this filter capacitor. I mean, it may be fine, but you know, it's, you know, capacitors are just getting old. And maybe even change out the ones on the board here. There's, from what I can see here, I know it's hard. I'll pull this board out here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I can see. Electrolytics that's on the board, and 2 or 3 transistors, and then this filter capacitor here with this paper around it here to hold it. See, this is supposed to slide over this heatsink for this power transistor. But anyway, so I'll get this. I'm guessing, let's see. Yeah, see that? You gotta be careful. Sometimes you can just pull it right off. Now that one's gonna come out. That one, forgot I had that thing zoomed in. That one come out. This one's gonna be little. It ain't got a set screw, I don't think. This one's gonna be a little trickier. I don't want to break it. Oh, that's interesting. But anyway, go through this thing and replace what needs to be replaced on those capacitors and all that, and see if we can clean it up and make sure it's going to last another 40 years, 50 years. So anyway, I'll come back when I have this thing took out. Okay, you can kind of see this here. Got it. Let's take that off. Got it taken out here. So you can see how it's made. You know, just all one board there. Single-sided board. So, one single-sided board. I mean a whole lot to it, I know, but just if somebody wanted to see it or see one like it or whatever. So I'll go through this thing, clean it all up, clean up this board, replace this capacitor, and like I said, I'll probably go through and take out, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other electrolytics, and I'll be back when I have that done, and we'll fire it up. Okay, everybody. It's been almost 24 hours now. I have went through this thing, and I'll show you that here in a minute. You can see maybe some of it from the video here, but I went through and replaced everything. Well, I went through and replaced all the electrolytic capacitors. Yeah, you can see it in the shot here, right in here. That was, again, like you've seen in my other videos, this was just a standard disc capacitor, ceramic. This is across the line. It's fine, but just in case somewhere down the road, you know, it was to short out or something, or go bad, you know, it could go bad and short. So I put a safety capacitor across it. You know, because these are designed to fail open always. So if they was to fail, they fell open. And this particular board don't have any kind of like fuses. Most people think it's a fuse, like a glass fuse or something. But it does have a fusible link in it. Just a little bit there. This resistor here is designed as a fusible link. This here will go out. It even says inside of the cabinet, replace R19 only with GE catalog number RT1914 fusible resistor. I went through and replaced all that, and I had the signal generator turned on, warmed up. I'm using again the Heathkit IG42. It's been warmed up and checked for frequency accuracy. It's dead on, or as close as I can get it to 455 kilohertz. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the alignment. So I looked and looked and looked, and just could not find a schematic for this particular unit. Now there's a lot of models, in my research that use this exact same board. Some of them they'll turn sideways like it in this model. Some they just leave them like this, where you got the volume and tuning control, across from each other here. So you just reach in, horizontally, and they'll have some's got a clock in them. Some's got a clock, the clock radio tied together. Some's just a clock and radio separate. You can't, set it. Like say where you wake up to music or wake up to radio. So they all use the same exact board. But I did come across the Sam's Fax has a schematic for this, but you got to pay for it. I think it's like $20 or something, or whatever. I can't remember. It's 15. But something this simple, we can go through it without that. I did check the resistors, and they're within tolerance. I mean, they worked really good. So everything seems to be doing alright. I did do an initial real quick check. I put it on the isolation transformer and fired it up just to make sure we didn't see no smoke or anything weird. But like I said, it was working before I even replaced electrolytics, so I didn't expect it to not work. But I wanted just to, since my mother wanted it to be brought up to new as I could, replace those electrolytics and let this go for another few years. So I've just got it set up here. I've got the VTVM across the speaker. Like I said, got the signal generator ready, and what I've done, you can see here, I've took an alligator clip test lead, and that is just, I've got the ground going to the ground of the unit, and then I've got, you can see here, it's just going to the one in the alligator clip, and the other end is just kind of coming back on itself here, and I've got a wire looped around and slid over this ferrite rod. You can come in right in here, right here, and feed the signal generator directly into it, if it gets the level really low. But that can pull it off a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, indirectly couple it through this. Okay, and, like I said, without a schematic or whatever, we can still kind of, I can go and show you through this here. These 3 cans here is for your IF 4 and 55. Like most all of them back in this time period, I'll use 455 kilohertz for the IF. And you'll come out of this into this one, and it goes this one, and it goes this one, before it goes through the rest of for the detector and auto amplifier chain. You've got this here. You can see that maybe. That is a of course this flashlight don't work. Anyway, you've got this right here. There's a little coil right here that you don't have to touch in this unless you just want to be a stickler about it, and then you really need to throw it on a spectrum analyzer. But for something like this, we're not going to worry about that. That'll set your 455 kilohertz oscillator. If it's 453 or if it's 457, something like this, it ain't going to matter too much. We're going to touch it up with these cans, and unless somebody's really got an iron screwdrivered it and went crazy with it, just leave that there alone. Let's see if I can tilt it up here. You got these 2 trimmers here on top of the variable capacitor. And these are to set your dial accuracy. One of them will be, I have to think about it. One of them will be probably this one. Will be something, let's see. This is probably 1400 kilocycles, and this will be 1640 kilocycles. In other words, if you got it in the radio or you got it in the cabinet, you know, with your dial all the way as far as it'll go over. It'll be 1640 and then 1400. There is no, if it was a more elaborate radio and a little more complex circuit, you would have a coil, and usually the coil is your bottom end. You have a coil here tied to this to adjust your dial accuracy for the bottom end. You go down to something like 550 kilohertz or something like that, and you adjust your coil. Try to put that, you know, you put your pointer on 550 on the actual radio itself, put it all back in there and set that on 550. You adjust your coil to bring your tone in on 550, then you'd run it up to say 1400, and then adjust this one here to bring that, you know, zero beat that at 1400, and then back and forth till you get it. But this one here being so simple and stuff, they didn't do that, but you do have two adjustments, and most of the time you got to fool with those. You know, if your dial point, if you tune in, say a station that's 1000 AM, and your dial pointer is just a hair off of 1000 AM, it's not pointed right exactly at the little dot. You know, for something like this, most people ain't going to care, you know, or whatever. And this is not, and this is kind of broad-banded enough too. You know, selectivity is not super great on this. I mean, it does have selectivity. We got 3 cans in the IF here, but, and it being AM only, a lot of times you can put it right in that area and it'll sound fine, you know, to most people. For something like this, it's not a hi-fi system or, you know, anything crazy like that. Well, let's get into the alignment of this thing. Like I said, I got everything set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach over here. I'm going to, and what we'll do is we'll hear a tone. You know, if you watched my previous video on lining up the SX140, it'll be the same type setup. We'll adjust these, you know, for the maximum deflection on the meter. Now we got my VTE-VM set on the lowest setting on AC. Get it across the speaker over there. Swing it around, let you see it. And then we're going to adjust these like I said. So let me turn it on. Okay. And one other thing too is make sure you can hear that a little bit there. A little bit of stack there. It's trying to receive pretty good. Make sure when you're doing this, you have your capacitor, you know, the mesh fully open. And you gotta be careful too. Again, right now we've got AC going straight into this board here, and it's sitting here. So you touch the wrong thing, you get a good little zap. But you can probably see I've got that there. I've got it all the way open. You know, maximum turned all the way, fully unmeshed. Okay. Now I'll bring the meter into the shot, and there you can see hear the tone. That's 455 kilohertz with 400 hertz audio tone riding on it. You'll start with this one right here, and we'll just adjust for maximum deflection. And peek it out and go back and forth till you see it. I'm going to move to this one here. Okay. And this one here probably won't show so much. And actually it did. Okay, and then we'll just go back through it. And that pretty much gets it right there. if you want to be real picky about it and whatever, you can go 3 or 4 times just to make sure. But that's pretty much it right there. It's tuned in now, zeroed in on that 455, so we should have our maximum sensitivity right now and selectivity. So that's it. Like I said, these two up here we can't really adjust it. We put it back in the cabinet, but you can get room in there once it's slid in there. You can it's got room to bring in from the side and adjust those, but you may not have to adjust them. You just need to stick it in there and see, what you like, but just be very careful with them. Just touch them just a little bit. You can, what you do is you set your frequency or your signal generator on, with a low output on 1400. Put your dial on 1400 right on. Look straight at the radio. Turn that knob till it gets right on 1400. And then adjust this till you bring your signal in. Put your signal generator on 1400 kilocycles. And you get that adjusted for the maximum. And then run your dial all the way over. And put it on 1640. And adjust that one for maximum. You know what I mean? Pretty simple on that. I mean, like I said, it's a simple radio, and I've kind of drug it out here a little bit, but if you've done hundreds of these, then you're probably bored of this video. But if you've not done a whole lot of these, you're like watching every minute of it anyway. But that's pretty much that. Let me shut down there. Pull the meter off the screen, and then and you can see here, I just got this looped over there. Okay. Let me take this loose here. So I'll bring it up so you can see it more now. This filter capacitor, I changed it out. Like I said, changed out this across the line with the safety capacitor. Went through the resistors, they was all pretty good. I changed all these little electrolytics. They'll last longer than something like this, the higher voltage across it. But you can start getting, pops and cracks and whatever from that. I cleaned this really good here with contact cleaner, went through it really good. Sometimes though you'll find these are still off, and if you can't find an exact replacement, because you can see how this thing's made here. Got a really crazy looking setup here. Not something you're just going to go and find in a catalog. Where you got this here with the switch. Now you can find the switches like this. You can find the potentiometers and switch on them, but this particular setup, sometimes you have to modify something to make this work. If this is really bad and you can't find a replacement. Or you may have to, put the switch separate or something, but you can get them. You can make this work, if we had to. We could take this here off and somehow fix it to a new potentiometer, and so that way it lines up right. I mean, that's it. I'll take it and we'll get it back in the cabinet, and we'll listen to it a little bit and see how it works when we're back in the cabinet. Okay, I've got it put back in the cabinet, and I still got to put the back on, but what I'm showing you was, if we can see this, see if we can see this, sort of, kind of, maybe. See, right in there, got that loop of wire in the way. Let's move that for a minute. See, now I can come in here, not with this, of course, this is the wrong one, but I can come in here and adjust these. Kind of see my hand keeps getting in the way, but you can see I got plenty of room to adjust those. If I need to, what I'm going to do is take this and carefully put this back up in here. I'm going to break them little bitty wires. Now be careful with that. Okay. And we'll bring it back. I even have the ground hooked up. It should be fine just for this. Okay. So I've got that. Let me bring it down a little bit. And I've got this set right on 1400. Okay. I'm going to turn it on. I've got the signal generator set at 1400 or 400 hertz modulate tone. I mean, that's it. That's close enough for me. And then if we set it on 1640. Wires in the way, don't I? Okay. 1640. That's it. Look at that. And that's as far as it'll go. So, as I say, you normally ain't got to mess with that. Well, let's go through it here. And you're going to hear a lot of things like that from noise in the shop here, but like that. And you see, of course, ferrite rod. I can move it.
Smoke coming from the building. They call for additional support.
Well, that's interesting. But anyway, there it is. And actually did a little better than I thought it would. I could take this and the camera and go set it up other side of the house away from all these electronics, computers, and all this equipment running, and it would perform a lot better because I don't have an outside antenna, you know, with coax going up outside away from all the noise and everything. But anyway, and I've still got some cleaning to do to it. But I cleaned it up quite a bit. You can see that's just this set next to a window too, over there in the corner, and the sun hitting it years and years and years and years, and where that sticker was at, that's just it. It's kind of preserved the color a little bit more there, but you know, and this here you can see it wasn't like I got really crazy here. That was, if you remember, I don't know if you can see from the dust, but that was there. There's those splotches of blue around where it just faded different, or something spilled on it, or I don't know, but I got that sticker off of there. and most of that off. Cleaned it, and still it could stand a little more cleaning here and there, but I mean, that's it. And it's ready to go and play for another 50 years. So my mother don't even, I think she kind of thought that, well, once she sent it this way, she probably wouldn't see it again. So and right now, and she had another radio, that an older, one I said, I think I mentioned the first video my dad had. It's one of the grandkids knocked off and messed it up. I didn't look at that. It's going to be real easy to fix. And while I'm in there, I just realign that one up too and clean it up and straighten it up and all that. But so now I've got that one. So that's what promoted this video. I had a couple other things in mind I was going to do this week to release a video, and well, this came along. Now she has no radio. I mean, she has TV, of course, and whatever. She's got a computer and internet, and all that if she wants, but she's not really, being, 70 years old, not really into all that as much. She'll go on the internet what she has to or whatever, but, most of the time the computer stays off at her house. And at the end of the day, she likes to listen to her AM radio. It's what she's done for years and years, so. But I think she kind of thought, well, once it went this way, that was kind of the end of that. She probably wouldn't see it again, and she's the kind that wouldn't never say anything. Oh, well, or she'll look around and a few months and find her another radio or something. But I'm gonna just take this over to the house and set it back in the corner and plug it back up and have it ready to go and not say anything, see how long it takes her to notice it. But I thought, well, what if she don't notice it? So I'll probably, while she's at work one day, go in, tune it to her favorite AM radio station, and have it volume turned, not blaring, but not super low, but just enough to, when you walk in the house, you can hear it. And go, what in the world is that? And she'll see her radio sitting there playing again. So, anyway, it wraps up this video. Hope you enjoyed it on this little GE unit from the early 70s. All this stuff. I love doing the vacuum tube stuff the most. And then at the other extreme end, I love going through and programming the microcontrollers and, making stuff do what I want it to do and whatever. But this stuff here is really neat too. I mean, it's just, even if there's no sentimental value, it's neat to take the transistorized radios and bring them back, and whatever. And this one's not the neatest of, some the deco, the artwork and the way they shaped and made the cabinets, because they was more back, then in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even some in the 80s, they was more. 80s, they started kind of getting out of it, but if you ask me, but they really tried to make the radio or the television set, whatever, part of the furniture. They put a lot of thought not only to the inside and electronics, but a lot of thought to the outside. And some of these older radios really look really neat. The art, what I call artwork, the way the cabinet was designed and styled and whatever. This one's kind of basic, even 1970, but gonna make my mother happy. So there you go. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and until the next video, this is Michael, KE4EST 73.